We'll be getting started in just a second. Connecting to Facebook right now. And I think we should be live on Facebook. Hi everybody, I'm Sami Abasad, Director of Education at T3 Live. Welcome to our weekly video series. We're gonna go over the market. We're gonna go over some amazing ideas for next week. But before we start, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss today is for educational purposes only. So make sure you agree to that before proceeding with today's video. Also, if you'd like to download a copy of my free ebook, link for that is in the description. And before I forget, I'm putting on a free open house next week for both the Strategic Swing Trader newsletter, so you can get it in your inbox every day, showing you which stocks I'm picking to play that day, every day for 5 days, as well as the Strategic Day Trader. If you're a day trader, you want to join me in the chat room, check me out, see what I do, and see if you like my services. Link for that is in the description. You can register by one click. Again, link for that is in the description. I hope to see you there next week. If you find benefit in today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. That helps out the channel, helps support the T3 Live channel. We're going to go over the market and let's get started. First, the NASDAQ, the QQQ, looks completely different than the SPY, the IWM, and the Diamonds, the DIA, which is the Dow Jones. But having said that, the Qs historically led the market because the Qs, the NASDAQ is dominated by the technology companies. They make up about, the top 6 make up about 50% of the entire NASDAQ. And so the Qs has a daily sell setup. When you have a stock, or the market in this case, that is in a downtrend, which this is, and then goes back up towards the declining 20, and then starts to break down, takes out the last bar's low, which we did, that's called a sell setup. That's bearish. At the same time, when you have an uptrend, and I'm going to show you the weekly chart of the Qs, when you have an uptrend and a pullback to the rising 20, and then the stock or the market or the ETF, whatever it is, the type of analysis that I do applies to every moving instrument, regardless of what it is, whether it's stocks, forex, futures, options. So when you have a stock that pulls back to the rising 20, that's called a buy setup and takes out the prior bar's high. But this buy setup, this was the trigger bar we triggered last week, and then it turned into a big top and tail bar, which is bearish. So to make the long story short, we have a bearish daily, so bearish short term, bullish long term, but it's a very easy call. If we break under this bar's low, which is 309.66 on the Qs, all out bearish for me. If we take out the high, which is 324.20, that would confirm this buy setup, and this could be used as an entry into a long-term position in the market. So the Qs, again, over 324.20 would be extremely bullish, and I'd be all out bullish, and under 309.66 would be bearish. In fact, we don't even need to wait for 309.66. I could be bearish. I mean, the hourly is triggering a sell setup right here on the hourly chart of the Qs. But safest would be under 309.66. So short-term bearish, long-term bullish. But to tell you the truth, I'm more bearish than bullish. I suspect that we're going to break down on Monday. Okay? We don't know yet, but that's my suspicion. And again, I gave you the numbers for bearish and bullish. Now, we talked about the market. We have a plan for the market, whether it decides to go up or down. We have numbers that we're aware of, that we know, a line in the sand, so to speak. Let's talk about the individual stocks. That's kind of more interesting. Let me show you what I like for Monday at least. And if you want to know, I'm not going to play every one of these, but if you want to know which ones I'm actually going to be taking, join the open house. You'll get the newsletter in your inbox tomorrow morning, and you'll see which ones with the entries, stops, and targets. So join that free open house. GLSI is a breakout over the base, stop under it. Thinly traded, doesn't do a lot of volume, but I like it higher to, I mean, it has room to $50. Okay, do I think it's gonna, do I think it's gonna get to $50? I don't think so. but it has plenty of room. So the entry for this would be over $31. GLSI. GNUS is a monthly, daily, weekly, monthly breakout. So if we go to the weekly, notice the weekly chart is breaking out, monthly is the same. So I don't like the fact that the base is not very tight on the GNUS, but over here long, stop right here, okay, on the GNUS. Hudson, another also monthly transition A breakout. This is my favorite kind of monthly chart, with the exception of, except in this case, it's under the 200. I like it when, that red line, I like it when it's above the 200 MA, okay? So, but it's still interesting. The entry for this would be over 167, stop under 150 on the Hudson. IMVT is a transition A on the daily chart and an hourly breakout. So the entry for this would be over the base, stop under it, and target the prior high. That would be kind of target 1, maybe $19 or so, and target 2 would be the bottom of that base, which would be target the bottom of this space. Oops, there it is. The bottom of this space, around $22. My annotation tool got stuck for some reason. So that's the IMVT. IVR is a weekly breakout, real estate stock. I have a couple of real estate stocks in my portfolio. Again, if you want to see what I have in my portfolio, just join the open house for next week. You'll get an email tomorrow showing you what the currently open positions that I have, as well as the plays that I'm looking to take on a daily basis. So long, stop, and target really has room to $8. But if the market turns bearish, which I think it might, I think it will be, then I don't think it's going to get to $8. So $6 would be a lot more reasonable in terms of the target for the IVR. JE collapsed at the same time. If it takes out this little base on the daily chart over 193, I think it goes back up to $3. So over 193 by 163, 30 cent stop, and target is about $1.20, okay? $1.10, $1.08 to be exact. KHC, I already have a position in this from February 8th or 9th or something like this. There it is, February 11th. I played it as an earnings play this day, and with $20,000, so 600 shares, and I decided to keep it long term. Why? Because it has my favorite monthly chart. See that monthly, how it's transitioning, breaking out. So I'm already in it, but I would like to add to it tomorrow if it takes out 39.71. So over this, stop under the pivot as a long-term trade. Okay, it's already up over $3,000, just over $3,000, because I'm in it from here, but not a whole lot of shares, just 600 shares. That's the KHC. Next on the list is MGI. This is a beautiful weekly buy setup, but unfortunately doesn't have a lot of reward to risk. So entry right here, and what's this bar's high? This is 51.20. Stop is under last week's low, which is 42.16. That's a $10 stop. So that's the problem with it. Target is about 60, maybe even more, maybe 64. That would be the target. Beautiful, but unfortunately doesn't have a lot of reward to risk because the stop is so big. NBEV is, I think this is a cannabis stock, and it might be one of the better looking cannabis stocks out there. Long for this would be over 327, stop under 281, and target about 450. Okay, on the NBRV, or NBEV rather. NUZE, NUZE is an hourly base breakout. This is just for one day, I think. Over the base, over 410, stop under Friday's low, which was 390, I believe, about 390, and target would be 460 or 450, and maybe even $5. So this is just an hourly base breakout. That's the NUZE. Okay. Next on the list is OCUL. Beautiful relative strength above the moving average. Certainly looks higher, big base on the daily chart. If you look at the weekly also, it's like a weekly buy setup, but it is also a little sloppy, and then it's a big stop. So entry and stop. So the bigger the stop, the smaller the reward to risk. So over 2150 by 1865 on the OCUL. PBI already triggered the weekly buy setup, but I don't think it's broken out on the daily, so it would be good over about $10, stop under the base right here, and target the prior high around 15. So that would be a 50% gain on the PBI. If you want the numbers for all of these, I'm trying to give you the numbers, but this is a video and I'm trying to keep it as short as possible. If you want the exact numbers, entries, stops, targets, then again, click on the link, join the open house. Even if you don't plan to join the day trading room, at least you'll get the newsletter for 5 days in a row for free. Okay, so that's the PBI. Next is the PDSB, which gapped up and did not fill the gap at all, which is bullish. So the entry for this would be over right here, or could maybe let it take out the whole thing, stop right here and target about $7, maybe even more. If the market turns bullish, it'll probably exceed the prior high if the market turns bullish, but I doubt it, but we'll see. AIV looks beautiful. I just got trailed out of it on Friday. I was in it from this breakout over 510, but I got trailed out of it for money, but I like it again higher over 579. No, I'm sorry, it's over 588, I think. Yeah, 587. So it's over 587. Stop under this bar's low, which is 546. So over 588, stop under 546, about a 40-cent stop, and the sky's the limit. I mean, it has plenty of room. It can get to $10, can get to 15. There's no resistance at all. So that's what I like about it. This list is supposed to be listed alphabetically, but I see that the AIV is at the bottom. It's supposed to be at the top. At any rate, if you'd like to get that list, it's also in the video, in the description of the video below. The real estate, I mean, not the real estate stock, the retail stocks, the apparel stocks in particular, like AEO, GPS, I don't know, KSS, Kohl's, they are a little climactic. They're up so much. Look at this, guys. Crazy stuff. Look at this, AEO. From $7, I don't know, $6.50 to $30. That's probably the top on AEO. Let's take a look at GPS. Similar. Goes from $5 to $31 into a lot of resistance. Probably topping out. And I have a few more that I'm watching, but I don't want to overwhelm you with a 50-item watch list. So I just included, I think, just 2 of the top retail watches short. I think they're topping out. On AEO and GPS, one can play them under the weekly topping tail. So look at this. Under 30, 50, 40 by $33 short, and then just go on vacation because it has plenty of room to fall. I think it has room to the 20 on the weekly, which is around $23 or $22 on the GPS. Similar on the AEO. Under last week's low, which is 29.35 by 31, and target, well, 26 would be target 1, maybe 23 target 2. So I like these 2 short from the retail sector. Retail has been super hot, and now I think it's topping out. I think it topped out. Other short watches that I like, I guess the APPH weekly is not very good. I just noticed, but that's the monthly, and here's the daily. The daily has a sell setup. So the entry for this would be under 20, 50, 61. Give it a little bit of room because this stock is spready. Stop over 23.50. So entry under this bar's low, stop above it, and target the prior low right here, around 15.50 on the APPH. Next on the list is APTO, is in a downtrend and has a sell setup. I told you, a rally to the declining 20 basically is what a sell setup is. Or in this case, because it's based for a little bit, you can also call it a breakdown. Under the base and target right here. About 2-to-1, not quite 2-to-1 reward to risk. ATNX, already an open position, but if it breaks under this bar's low, I like it. It's a sell setup. I played it already 2-3 times. Short, long. And I tried it short last week also, and I killed it for a loss, and then I got back in it. So, and now I like it short under 470. Okay, by 495 as a 1-2 sell setup. That's the ATNX. CELH is an EV stock, and it looks lower under 44.50 by 47.70. This is a wild stock, and I would rather put the stop right here, but then it becomes too big of a stop. So this, the compromise would be put it over Friday's high. Target 1, maybe not. Actually, that would be too small of a target. So short, stop, and target. How about that? Okay, on the CELH. CLOV is in a downtrend, and then a rally, a counter rally, and a sell setup. So short under about 823, stop over 887, and target the prior low, which is about 630. ENDP, same thing, is a sell setup. So short, stop, and target, okay, on the ENDP. EVFM, sell setup. So we got all these counter rallies, and now a lot of the stocks are looking to fall, especially if the market drops too. So it would be under 268, stop over 288, and target the prior low. GLBS, another sell setup. You need to open up the chart to really see it. Let's see on the GLBS. There it is. It's a sell setup. Not bad. Short under 488. Stop over 533. Okay, on the GLBS. GPS we already talked about. GPS and AEO, retail stocks that look like they're done. GTH is exactly the same as ENDP. Short, stop, and target. Okay, HIG is a little climactic. Now, it's not the best because it's a one-day breakout, so I'm not entirely sure about it, but I like it short under 66.99, stop over the base, and target about 63. Okay, I did a couple stocks like that last week. REVG is one of them, which is an open position. But you can see this is better. And if you look at the weekly, also totally climactic. See that? Monthly, similar. But so we're in this as an open position. And I did the CPE, which is an oil stock. I'll show you right here, CPE. But I made the huge mistake of not covering it all down here. It got to target 1, and then target 2 was about 32 bucks, and it got to 32.28. So I made a mistake. I should have just covered the whole thing. So I still have half, slightly less than half. But this was, so the back half I'm trailing to 38 to 39.01 basically. I'm giving it a little bit of room. Hopefully it won't trail, but I just made a mistake on it. Didn't take the whole thing. This is also, you know, climactic on the weekly and the monthly and the daily. So the HIG is similar, but you know, because it's just one big green bar, it's not as good, but I'm willing to give it a shot. INSG is a sell setup / breakdown, short, stop, and target. Okay. KPTI played its swing in the newsletter as a breakdown right here, and then it went back up. And then so when it broke down the second time, I added to it. So this was a very nice play for me. And then I trailed it over here, kind of gave back a bit. Now it's doing another sell setup. Very, very weak stock. So short, the right place to put the stop would be, so this is the short, this would be the stop. But look at the size of the stop, too big. So I'm going to make a compromise and put the stop just over Friday's high. But it's a little more aggressive, okay? Hopefully, if the market drops, then, you know, it shouldn't shake us out. Shouldn't shake me out. The LHDX, I guess it triggered already on Friday, so I'm not going to chase it, but it's a sell setup too. Downtrend, counter rally, and then now the sell setup. The QTNT, a breakdown under the base. It actually looks pretty good on the hourly chart on the QTNT. So short under the base, stop above it. And then target, I don't know. You have to go, you know, zoom out a little bit, and you would see the target is about 250 or so. Okay, so short, tight stop, and target about 250. On the QTNT, ride, very, very bearish. I made 1,500 bucks on it on Thursday, this day, and now has a 1, 2, 3. I like it under 1260 short, stop over 1356 on the ride. Switch, really, really like this switch. I called it 2-3 times short, but it never triggered. And I still like it, but I don't like the fact that it stayed at the top right there after that move up. It didn't come in with the cues at all, and it's a tech stock. So I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to call it again for Friday, but this is a pretty chart. So under the base, stop above it, basically. Okay, and target the prior low. It's a sell setup. We got 100 sell setups here. Top is a sell setup, but a little bit weaker than the rest of them. Had a gap down under a long-term base. The bigger the top, right, the bigger the drop. Or supposed to be at least. So this is a very, very, this is for sure the top. I mean, the forever top. So it should come in, but it's the same problem with all of these. That, you know, because of the high volatility in the market, if I put the stop above the base, it dilutes the reward to risk. So I'm putting the stop above Friday's high. and hope that it doesn't get stopped out, and target right here on the Tupperware. And last but not least, VIAC. I was actually in it, and it was up a lot of money right there as a climactic sell setup, but I covered it already. It just was too strong. I might have made a mistake by covering it, because usually, you know, as long as they don't take out the highs, it's okay. When you play climactic, sometimes they go right back up, but as long as they don't take out the highs, then it's okay to hang on to it. But when I shorted it here a few days ago, I put the stop right there. So I didn't use the all-time high, because it would have been too big of a stop. So I didn't cover anything, went back up, I killed it. I like it again if it can break under 95.40 by 98.60 on the VIAC, weekly climactic run-up. Okay, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this kind of long watch list, long video. And if you have, then be sure to hit the like button, but also be sure to join me next week for the free open house. Hope to see you there. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.